another exciting week and an exciting episode of Gospel Manager. It's a month of quality response, and this week is our week of quality restful outcomes, meaning that everything that you shall have this week as an outcome will be restful to you and peaceful to your families, your businesses, and all that concerns you. Now, remember, Gospel Manager is an amazing program on the internet space where you could ask God's servant, Dr. Maxwell Golden Abe, your burning questions, and you'll be sure to get heaven's wisdom and counsel on how to go about those issues that are of great importance to your life. Now, please share the links to your families, your friends. Let them know that God's servant is now live on Gospel Manager and they could send in their issues via questions bordering ministry, marriage, relationships, academics, career, business, and every other aspect of life. Whatever it is that you could not tell someone, you could actually tell us here on an anonymous basis, and you'll be sure to get the desired outcome from that question. As God's servant will be guiding you through the paths of wisdom and right counsel so that you could live a favorable and restful life. Now, note that you could send in your questions via the comment section on the streaming platforms that you are streaming, and you could also send it via email and WhatsApp text or Telegram text. Now, for the email is thegospelmanager@gmail.com. WhatsApp and Telegram text is +234 9047 533019. My team and I are ready to collate your questions and also highlight them in this episode. Now, don't forget to follow Gospel Manager on TikTok, Facebook, and also you could stream via God's Servant's YouTube page, Maxwell Golden Abe, and also his Facebook page, which I believe some of us are streaming now at Dr. Maxwell Golden Abe on Facebook. Uh, it's so exciting, and I'm very excited. I'm privileged to be here as God's servant is in the studio with me. So please do join me as I make welcome of him in this episode. Good morning, Dad, and welcome.
How are you?
Fine, thank you, sir.
We must grow to, we need to learn how to make conversations. As I try to study life, I discovered that many persons don't know how to make conversations. And we don't know the responses to give. And because we don't know the responses to give, we are producing things we are not supposed to produce. Because every decision a man takes, it produces a conversation. So, and people don't know the room they enter. Any room you enter defines the conversations you should make. Because you don't understand the people we are with. Sometimes we make conversations at our level to people that are superior. Before you make conversations, check who you are with in a room. That is what defines how you make your responses. But today, people make their conversation without understanding who is with me in the room. Is it someone I am superior with or somebody that is superior to me? See, when we start studying these levels of human dignity, we will know how to make healthy conversations, because right now, people don't know how to make conversations. And that is why you see the reactions you see. And the reactions are so poor that you imagine why are people making certain reactions, because they don't know how to make right conversations. And because we don't know how to make those kind of conversations that are correct, we will not end up having the right responses you need. So it's affecting a lot of people's image, and it's not by helping dignity at all. So let us learn how to make conversations. We know the words that will go for children, things that will go for colleagues, things that will go for superiors. We just have to learn how to make conversations. and a lot of things will be peacefully put in place for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Speaking about conversations, God's servant had taught us over the weekend and also starting from Thursday, I believe, the 1st of May, on the power of responses. I would likely ask him to give us a preview of that word because it is important to our world now. How we decide to respond to things, even in church and outside church, matters a lot to the outcomes that we get in life. And it's important for us to note that whether it is responses in your relationships with your spouse or your intended spouse or with your children, with your work, it's important because it helps us elevate our lives, or as God's servant said, how you choose to act and speak either elevates your life or destroys your life. So I'm going to leave the floor for God's servant to put his thoughts again on that, especially to our gospel manager family.
You know, when I was growing up, I want to be very personal with you. When I was growing up as a pastor, people fear me a lot. You'll be so afraid that you'll be making mistakes when you're around me. So I made myself look very fiery, young, but I had so much command and control of people. So when I looked at, sometimes I look at myself now, and I say, sometimes something would tell me, it's better you were like that. But the reasonable part of me would tell me, this is who you are. Because people are not supposed to fear you. People are supposed to honor you. Because a man who honors you will respect you. The man who fears you is only afraid of you. He does not respect you. And we live in a world where people want to see people fear them, not honor them. So because of that picture, we are not producing correctly. And I want to cancel everyone. Your productions in life are proofs of sounds and actions. Nobody knows your mind, but people will see your actions and read your mind. That's not what I meant, but what you said is what somebody will take. How you acted is what somebody will take. I'm not in your mind, so I don't know what you are thinking about. But the things you are doing, the way you are talking, how you are acting is the message already. So let us try to review before we talk and try to review before we act. Because if you are acting from a certain picture in your mind and it is not true, when you make your conclusion and act and it was wrong, you have reduced yourself. And that's what so many marriages are going through today. You saw a picture, you didn't do a study of it, you just acted, and then later you discovered that you were just carrying images on your head. That has reduced your value in that marriage. If I am the person involved, you have been reduced. Because I should expect you to know before you act. Now you spoke without details. So let us fight to have the control of details before we take actions and before we make statements. If we don't have these things put together and we start talking and start acting, we'll look like men without guidance. So let's try, before we respond, let's know why we are responding. There must be a why before you make your response. Don't brand people without knowing why you are branding them. And don't talk to people without knowing why you are talking to them. There should be details why you speak to people and why you respond to an issue. And when we have that, we will be solving more problems than damaging crisis or damaging people. Because right now, every step people take now, we are destroying people's lives. We are either destroying organizations, destroying churches, betraying people, damaging people's interests, damaging trust. And because we are not having the broader picture of what we are supposed to do first, so it ends up in betrayal, it ends up in disappointment, it ends up in distrust because we are the problem. We are not studying before we act. And as long as we are not doing that, you will make all the mistakes in this life. And that's why I'm very careful now. I'm so careful that it's better not to say anything to you than saying things to you that I cannot prove. It's better I don't act. It's better I act when I know I'm sure. And I will study you first before I talk to you, because I have my details. But trying to jump into things that I'm not sure of belittles you. And that's where we are living today.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, making the global frontiers in the news is President Donald Trump. Now, recently he had put up an image of him as the Pope of the Catholic Church. Also, there are conversations about his interest running for a third term and possibly a fourth term, which he tags that it is permissible by the American Constitution. Over the times and in quite recent times, he had also said that the review of the American economy, everything good is from his administration in the past 100 days plus, and everything bad is at the expense of the bad administration of the former President Biden. Now, we want to hear God's servant's thought about the trajectory and the direction Donald Trump is going. Is it one of his stunts to always make it to the news, getting his relevance, or is he missing his way? Let's hear God's servant's thought on that. On your screen is the image as generated by him, posted the last for 24 hours, and also tagging himself the Pope. And also he was asked in an interview if he would like to be Pope, and he said, sure, he would. Yes, let's hear God's servant's thought on this.
I said the other day that if liberty is not guided, then you can't do anything you like. I've always said it. Me as a person, I won't accommodate you. That's the truth. You can't do whatever you like because you are not God. So as long as you're not a God, you have limitations. So if liberty is not guided, then direction should be created. So one, the man has so much liberty, but thank God for the American Constitution. There is a limit to what you can do. So to me, those are desires, and it's not every desire that will come to pass. So those are just desires. You know, we are in a media age, so they play with the media. So he's playing with the media. But when real stuff starts, the American Constitution will play itself. So those are just a man's desire. So let's leave it at the level of his desire now. He's playing with the media because he has a fan base. So he's trying to act on his fan base. There's a situation that happens in this country. That lady has a media fan, so she's playing with the fan base. So people are just playing with the character base of the media. So, but when real stuff starts, America has strange and careful structures, and he can't break those structures. He cannot break it. That is one thing I'm sure of. You can't bribe it, and you cannot break it. So when it's time, those structures will come up and play their role around that desire. It's a desire now. And he wants to see the responses. You know, sometimes people do things to get response. So he wants the responses now. And if he notices that the responses are more for him, it's giving him a strong base to act. So by the system I know there, they will definitely come after it. So at the level of desire, there's nothing wrong. But practical engagement, there will be a fight back. So my prayer for him is that as he's in God's will, he should also take counsel from leadership. Because if you are leading, also give yourself to be led. It's not enough to lead people. You must be led too. So if you're not giving yourself to be led, then you cannot lead people. If your leader talks to you and you are offended, then don't talk to people. I have a policy. If somebody who is superior to you speak to you and you're offended, and you feel you can't be led, then you cannot lead the people. The example of leading people is because when you are spoken to, you take it. So when you speak to others, they can take from you. So if you can't listen to the person up there who is leading you, then you don't have any moral right to lead anybody. And that's why I don't like people who translate leadership instructions to suit themselves. Your leader tells you, do this till you go there and change it. That kind of a person is a fool, because you should understand that that can be a test to your capacity as a leader. You should be learning how to take instructions as you are giving, because you are also passing instructions to people. You are expecting that people should respect you. So expect that when you are also giving, you should also do what? Respect it. So that leader should know that the power he has should be under control. Though he's a very strong leader, but he should take himself and put under control. There are people in his life who should be cautioning him when he goes wrong. Then he will do well and get so many things done in America. And I pray that God keeps guiding him.
Thank you so much, sir. All right, so three persons over the weekend had thrown a question to God's servant, wanting to hear his view on management of resources and the current financial crisis and negligence we have in our political structure. One came in this morning by way of news, and also he wants to uh, rephrase his question about resources. I think sometime last week, it was told that 10 billion naira was dedicated for solar for Aso Rock. And then this morning, we are hearing on the news that 71 billion is missing from the Nigeria Educational Loan Fund. And so three of our viewers are asking what could possibly be the solution to managing our resources and covering the loopholes in our financial spending in our country. How do we hold our leaders accountable, especially in cases of missing funds or misappropriation of funds? And Mr. Emeka asked, and he said, Bishop, please, how do we put in check all our political leaders with financial spending? How do we bring them to book? Not necessarily using EFCC to chase after them, especially when they are in opposition party. Going forward, what do you think, sir, could be the situation and the solution of this reckless financial misappropriation and careless spending in our political system?
I'm not going to talk about monies, but if we want to get people to do the right thing, you must teach them how to behave. The moment the person knows how to behave, you have solved the problem of that person's life. So what we lack as a people is cultural management, which to me is character-based. If character can be brought to our system as a law, then saving money will not be a problem. A thief is not because he loves money. No. It's because he has no manners. Because why are you picking something that is not yours? Because you don't have character. It's not because you love monies. You just don't have manners. Why will you take monies that is not yours? Why will you lie to take monies? The problem is not because you have an ambition. It's not because you have a project. It's because you don't have manners. A character-based man walks at the line of his resources. A character-based person will walk at the limit of his finances. Will never go outside what he can offer to himself. So we need to grow a culture that is under control, not by an external body, but internally. You can use people to guide me, still does not change me. Internal supervision is what we all need. Because the moment we get that internal supervision right, every other thing will be in place. Why would something be missing that is here if we are all Christians in this place? Why? So it's not a thing of appearance now, it's an internal thing. I have always said that, so one of the things that you should learn to build is trust for yourself. When you have liberty to do things, for example, I have a child. I have a very massive fridge. Everything is inside. And then the child just comes, open, and takes it. I didn't say anything. Because the child has a privilege of taking it. Takes. But I have one child who comes and says, Daddy, can I take? I say, yes. Comes back again. Every time the child takes permission. Even when that child does not need taking, I will be the one to tell the child, are you not taking? Because that permission alone creates awareness to me that this child who is taking permission, though it's a small thing, if liberty is given to this child more, permission will not be a problem. So sometimes we think we should take permission for bigger things. No, the smaller thing you are doing, that you have the boldness to go and collect without permission, is a sign that if you are given a bigger liberty, you will do so many dangerous things around yourself. So the problem is not money missing, the problem is character missing. If character is missing, money will be missing. If character is missing, things will go bad. So we need to start supervising, retraining, reinducting manners, not just in our political system, in our spiritual system, in our family system, in our organizational system. Character needs to be retaught, reinforced, supervised. When we have that done, we will not have issues of where money is supposed to go to and where money should go to. Why will an office have 20 vouchers to only withdraw 1 million? Because of character issues. If people have manners, one table for signing is enough. When you sign here, sign here. Even if people count the monies, you're not sure of them. You're not sure of anybody. Because trust is built by you. I don't give you trust. You will earn trust yourself. So, if we want to solve that problem, we need to go back to the foundation of the problem. The problem is lack of manners. And I have lived my life never to long for what I don't have. Everything I have is at my reach. I will never go after something I don't have. Because it's that interest of trying to go for something you don't have that makes you steal. Because why will you steal? Why will you even steal for the first place? It's because you are looking for something you don't have. So it will make you steal. Maybe you are saying things that you are not. So you want to meet up with a certain kind of life. So all of those things would... I was praying this morning. I said, I was praying I just said, Lord, always give me peace. Let me just live a life of peace. I just want to have peace. I'm not asking for much. I just want peace. I just want to have peace with myself, peace with what I do. Let me just have peace in my inside all the time. That's the way I want to live my life now. So if we want to change this country, we must change the men in the country. Money is not a problem. If the man changes, money will stop missing. If the man is not changing, money will keep missing. So that is, we should make character a topic, a course from secondary school, primary school, in tertiary institution, a topic in our training in the office. The way we teach skills, we should teach character. We should not be teaching skills alone. We should teach character and skills. The way we are teaching. You know, I was talking to myself yesterday, I said, there's no church on this earth that you go and see a service tag for the week, quality behavior. You can't see that kind of things. Because I've understood that man must be helped in a lot of ways. And if you get a man's character right, you've gotten the man right. Christ can only transform a man who accepts. If you don't accept Christ, he will not come into your life. And character will make you accept it. If you have character, you can easily accept Christ into your life. So I will hit this foundation so hard and that's why sometimes you notice that people who stay around me are people who have difficulties to behave, because that's what I am assigned to do. How can somebody steal around me? How can somebody misbehave around me? Why would you do that? Why would somebody have character issues around me? You're not supposed to have, because of my nature of life. So let's deal with that, and that will help this country.
Thank you so much, sir. All right, so this question is from Deaconess Ujunwa Ikediogo. She says she's asking on behalf of her pastor, and she's actually streaming from Abia State, Umaya. She says, "Good morning, Bishop. I am really enjoying all of your programs, and I followed your service yesterday, and I am very, very happy that there's a preacher who is speaking on the importance of the church and why Christians and believers must take church serious. Sir, but I have a bordering question that I have kept to myself for a while, even though I have indirectly asked my pastor to try to get his response on his decisions about the future. My pastor has an only child and she is a female. She currently studies in the UK, but she has great leadership potentials as she also heads her student union in the medical field in her university. It has given her a lot of accolades in the university, and when I had a chat with her when she came last Christmas, she said her goal is to be like the conversative leader of the United Kingdom, Miss Kemi, and she wants and hopes to be a political leader in our political terrain or in the UK if she gets her residential and also her citizenship. I had asked my pastor about his take on the future, especially regards sustainability of his legacy, as he is the founder and general overseer of our ministry. And he simply says, I have a brilliant daughter, but God's will prevail in her life. He knows she has a political destiny, but then what will be the succession plan? In this case, sir, what do you think should be the appropriate way in handling and dealing with the issue, especially because she is an only child?
I have less to say about that. The father is a man of God, and that decision will come through the God that speaks to him. So you should just be praying for the man should know what to do. He's the one God spoke to, and he has his encounters. Those encounters will define themselves when the time comes.
Thank you so much, sir. And this next question comes from Mr. Patrick. He says, "Good morning, Bishop. I totally agree with you about the issue of character. I think it should be taught in all of our institutions, including our workplaces and also the church. I am hugely a fan of your infinite wisdom, but sir, I just have a single worry. I feel that all this money missing, including the bloated prices for budgeting on things, for example, the 10 billion naira budgeted for solar system to power the Aso Rock, are all these schemes to save up money for the 2027 elections. Now that we know where all these loopholes are from, how do you think, sir, we can unseat these people irrespective of their financial bigwigs? How can we Nigerians unseat leaders who lack this character and put in leaders with the reputable character that best fits the offices that they go for?
Let's not even go far to those leaders. Just come to a small circle of 7 poor people, as an example. And then we have a conversation that we want to unseat a leader. who is not leading well. And we sat down, we decided. And then one of the poor man met the rich man. What will happen after is true. You and I know that as long as he's giving money and a plate of food to eat, he will change his decision. So it's not all about the people in power. The people who don't have power are even more of the problem. The people who don't have this power are even the problem, because why are you accepting a man who you already know is bad? Because of what you are gaining from him. So the problem, as I said earlier, we need to train ourselves to learn how to behave. You know, this thing about character behavior, people think they know how to behave. As I said earlier, conversations has to be built. People just talk anyhow. For example, I'm a leader. I ask you a question. You say, I have told you now. In front of people. Are you supposed to say that? Maybe I ask you a question. You say, I have. You don't say you have told me. You don't say that. Are you talking to your student? I'm talking to maybe 3-4 persons, and I actually say you have told me. We don't know how to make conversations. And that is the reason why results are heavily limited today on the earth. We need to learn how to make conversations. Somebody is delegated to do something. He's asked to do something, to defend the image of a system. He goes here and says, okay, now, you see, Oga is very busy now. You can see it now. And maybe that person does not want to see that person. Your boss does not want to see that. Common sense would have told you, I don't want to see that. And your leader does not want to see that person. You put it straight to the person. So a lot of things are not right. People have the wrong orientations. They have the wrong atmosphere. It's affecting results. So it's not a matter of who steals money here. We need to retrain ourselves into a lot of things. And these things, if they are not done the way they're supposed to be done, we'll keep having all these crises everywhere. 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 The crisis will be there. So let's retrain ourselves in cultural manners. Know how to make conversations. Know how to behave. And that will change it's like a woman who is married and does not know how to behave at home and expects that love will come from heaven. How is it going to come? A man who doesn't know how to behave and expects that honor will come from heaven. How is it going to come? Restrain, reject, react. Every time you are reacting, every time you're rejecting your husband, rejecting your wife. And what do you expect to come up with all those your actions you're creating at home? The way you are presenting things, the way you are presenting the meal of your husband, the way you are presenting yourself to your wife. How do you want access to come? Where? A child has no value for the parents, does not believe in what the parents are doing. How do you want to see love in that home? How do you want provision to come for? How will you be provided for? So a lot of things are not right in our systems. Though we have too many churches, that's why I started going back to teach on the beauty and the power behind the church. A lot of people don't know these things. And as long as you don't know it, it's a problem. No matter how long you have been in a team, as long as you don't know it, it's a problem. It's not just being close to a team that makes you know it. You must study it to know it. People just get close to things, but they don't know it. They don't know these things. They just get close to it. The Bible you are preaching, you don't even know the Bible you are preaching. Take one part of the Bible and preach. You have a phone, but the phone has too many things to do, but you don't know it has too many things to do. You are in a flight. Your flight has paid for your meal. You are still paying for the meal. And because of lack of knowledge. And these things are affecting our day-to-day existence. And let's be careful. Let's be careful and try to study things properly and grow ourselves into a certain valuable state of life. You shouldn't be shouted at all the time. I told you the other day, you grow from being a child to a son, from a son to a friend, from a friend to an intimate friend, from an intimate friend to a father. It's a law of life. But it's how you conduct yourself that will lead you there. So we need just need to go back for training, and including me myself, we have to go back to train ourselves on how to do a lot of things, because our approach to things is very poor.
Thank you so much, sir. All right, this question says, "Good morning, Bishop. Um, I remember one time streaming the Gospel Manager, and you made a very striking statement. You said that we should learn to observe our spouses to know what they want and what they don't want, and simply avoid them. I had the conversation with my wife, and I told her the same thing when we had an issue we were trying to resolve. I simply told her that by now we are 5 years in marriage, you should have observed the things that I like and the things that I don't like and simply avoid them to avoid issues. I never knew that the table was going to turn around to me because I was shocked at the response I had received from her when she said I was simply being self centered. Now she has a very bad habit. She nags a lot, and she also puts her mouth in conversations that doesn't concern her, and it hurts me badly because I'm the one who suffers it. I remember one time she had come from the market and she began to bug me with issues that she had in the market. It turned out to be a fight. A friend was speaking to another friend, and then she poke nosed into it, saying some things to the other side of the story, to the other person involved, the other counterpart, I mean, and it resulted to an issue because she was confronted in the marketplace. Now she began to bring the issues to me, and I simply said that she was the one at fault because from what she had narrated and from what the person had called me, she had no business in that conversation. Now my problem is because I had told her that she was the one at fault, there became another issue. So, sir, please, my question would be, how do we handle bad habits in marriages and relationships, even to our children?
We are misinterpreting judgmental spirit to bad habits. Some persons have judgmental spirit. They are judges, just literal judges. So they judge things at the standpoint that they have to judge. And a judge is the one who passes decisions. Some persons, they have the nature of passing decisions. They don't take corrections. So it's not a habit. Imagine it's a judge in the place of passing a judgment. He doesn't need your decision to pass it. He says, from the view of my looks, I have decided. That is how some people live their life. They take this, they decide judgmentively. So they just tell you what they think should be done. So that's how people live in their homes today, with a judgmental mind. No matter what, they just know this is how it should be. But you see, let me talk to everybody now. You will have a lot of crisis with yourself when everything goes your way in your marriage. Every time it's your decision. Every time it's your decision. Every time is how you feel. Every time is what you want. As you keep doing that to yourself, you will never hear the truth. You see, the truth will only come when you listen.
Yeah.
If you're I'm not talking to only those who are married now. You will never hear the truth from anybody in this life if you are not listening. Because if you are listening, you will know there are times you are making mistakes yourself. And if you are not a listenable person and you don't listen to yourself, you will just be making all the mistakes in this life. And I keep talking to ladies that I'm privileged to pastor or guide, that a woman should never have a judgmental spirit. One of the beautiful things that Abigail brought to the picture of womanhood is how to study a man and know where he has a weakness. Which women don't do today. She studied her husband and knew the weakness so well that when she heard that David was coming to kill the family because of the husband's weakness. She went behind the man, pacified the anger, and came back and told the man, the sin you committed, I have covered it. He didn't insult the man. The sin you committed, I have covered it. It was at the expense of the pride of the man that he died. All he would have said, thank you, my wife, for doing that for me. I'm grateful. Rather, the pride didn't allow him to apologize. So he was living in that judgmental nature and died in the process. And that was why when David saw that, David said, I'm a very loosed man. And if I have an observant wife, certain errors I will make, she will see it before me and tell me how to go. And he had God and choose the wise wife. So when he lost no battle, you can tell her why he lost no battle. Abigail was contributive to it. By the story of her former husband, you can tell Abigail played a role in making David not to jump into too many errors. Though he still entered into errors, but they were limited. Abigail. So when you live a judgmental life as a man, I'm not only talking to the women, as a man and a woman, you are about to live a life where nobody will tell you the truth. People will not genuinely love you. And people cannot express themselves around you. Particularly those who love you, I want to express themselves to you. Because you will be insensitive, and that's how they are. They are insensitive people. They are so, a judgmental person is heavily self-centered. Heavily self-centered. As long as it pleases them, it's okay. And they will read meaning to everything in this life. That's what a judgmental person is. So the best thing to learn from is to, and I'm trying to correct them now, learn to listen. Learn to understand atmospheres. Learn to know people. And also learn to know sometimes when you are right, you can handle the right with a sense of knowing that if I go this path, I can destroy my marriage. Because it's not an office, it's a home. The home is not an office, it's a home. So even when you are right, if I judge this matter this way, I may create a problem, even when I'm even right. So let me have it at the back of my mind that it's my home. It's my relationship. No matter what I do, I should not destroy it. No matter what I do in this marriage, I should not destroy this marriage. Though I am right, let me not end up trying to be very right and end up very wrong. And destroying the entire foundation of what I have built. So sometimes we forget that it's a home. And that's the problem with people. They forget that it's a home. It's not an office. I'm not talking about a building. You and I, husband and wife, that's a home. And our children. So we should understand the end of everything we do. Not you. The end of that home. The end of that home. The end of that home. And that will help you solve this thing that I see everywhere playing in people's life. And if we don't handle it wisely, we will have more people complaining in marriages than outside marriage. Because of these things I just mentioned now.
This is a very wonderful expository, but if you want to get more of this insight, especially as married couples, then be part of our women's convention, which kicks off this Saturday at 4 p.m. and also on Sunday at 6:30 a.m. throughout the three services. Now, if you observe on your screen, the theme of the convention is the observant, and God's servant had spoken about Abigail. And this is also going to be an important time for us to teach ourselves and our young girls how to be observant It's not just for the women, the men could also be part of it. So you could also learn on how to remind your spouse on what was said at the convention. Now remember, it starts on Saturday, the 10th of May at 4 p.m. and on Sunday throughout our three services beginning from 6:30 a.m. the first service, 8:30 a.m. the second service, and 10:30 a.m. the last service. Now, please note that we are going to be streaming at all social media platforms, including on YouTube. So be part of the service. It promises to be an expository. Hearing God's servants preamble just before this invite, you know that it's something you don't want to miss. Also ministering will be our First Lady, Reverend Vivian Gold Abe, who also is one that is worthy of emulation and a model to so many young girls and so many women, not just in the honor world, but beyond the walls of the church. Now, also, this is the 5th of May, and in case you are noticing things not going right and as you expected, then please be part of our special program coming up this Friday at 10 p.m. Battle and Rattle. Should you notice some things going sour or things are not going the way you had planned them from the first day of the year to this very moment, then join God's servant Dr. Maxwell Golden Abe as we prayerfully correct these issues and arrest these circumstances in God's presence through fervent prayers and prophetic declarations. Remember, it's Friday, the 9th of May 2025. Now, doors open and also will be streaming via the social media platforms as you could see on your screen. And so please share the links to your friends and family to be part of it. And also be part of our Thursday service, our midweek and communion service this Thursday, the 8th of May 2025. God's servant is teaching a new series, especially for the midweek services. You don't want to miss it. Come and be part of it, and something extraordinary that will shift you to the next level of your endeavors and of your life and ministry. You don't want to miss it. The time for the service is 4:30 p.m. and we are going to be streaming also on across all social media platforms. So invite your friends and family, and to all of our friends watching via the Honor TV, thank you for always being part of our programs. But you could also be part of this program and subsequent programs that are lined up for the month of May. Now we're going to take the very last question for this episode. And this question is from Mr. Lazarus. He says, "Good morning, Bishop. I am really enjoying your programs. Thank you so much for the questions that you have answered. It is very, very inspiring. Sir, please, my question would be, how do we approach some of our children who seem not to be interested in probably our desires for them in terms of what to study and careers to pursue? They say that they have their own dreams, and sometimes we could agree with them that they are gifted in this area, but as parents, we feel that they will do better in this other area. For example, I have a daughter who is a very amazing singer, but she's also very intellectually sound, and she is currently pursuing a career in medicine and surgery. Her lecturers can testify of her impeccable character and commitment to her academics. As a matter of fact, when they come for accreditation in the department, they always want her around to answer questions from the aspect of the students. Now, she loves singing and she's passionate about it. I even encouraged her to be part of the choir in our church, which is one of the amazing singers in that department. But she seems to tweet towards music than tweeting towards the academic career. So, sir, in this case, how do I make sure that she doesn't misjudge her talents with building a professional career for herself?
The, the complexities of life is because we want to do too many things. And so because of this popular saying that man should dwell on multi-streaming platforms, so we try to multi-stream ourselves into a lot of platforms. And I am a very strong traditionist in the area of purpose. That you can never build too many things without building a thing. The problem is people are building too many things without building a thing. Because it is one thing that spreads to too many things. So, first, let us identify what is her purpose. Every other thing is unnecessary. What is her purpose in life? If we identify that, then we start from there. That's the primary foundation. It is that purpose that will now define how she spreads. If we don't identify her true purpose, I don't care what the parents think or what she thinks. Have we identified her purpose? So if her purpose has been identified, then she grows from that purpose to any other extension that life will provide for her in the future. And I think that's what they should fight to get first. If we don't get that right, then all the promises of what she will be will end up not even becoming anything. So let's fight to see that she's in that place where she's supposed to be. Then she will progress from there. Just imagine Joseph not dreaming. It was the dream that made him interpret the dream. So if he was not dreaming, there's nothing to interpret. It was first dreaming, then grow to interpretation, then grow to interpreting managerial situation in a country. So there has to be a foundation that will spread to a place that will bat a certain color for you. So let's be careful how many things you want to do at the same time. To me, you will end up doing nothing. So let's get these foundations right, not only for the girl, but for everyone. Start building purpose from where you are. Sometimes people are looking at purpose as one thing you have to get in. I've always said, whatever you do now, do it well. Whatever you are doing now in life, do it. Don't tell me you don't have passion for it. Do that thing to a level where it will look as if that was your life. Why? Because it is life that brings life. If I don't like this thing and I put life to it, it will be useful. So this thing about purpose, sometimes I'm laughing at people. This is what you have to do now. Just put life to it. Life means time. So if I give time to this thing, life will come to it. People will always be attracted to what you give attention to. It's what you give attention to, people pay attention to. So if you are not paying attention to the thing, it's not going to work. So let us give attention to what we do. Then the spread will take its course.
Thank you so much, sir. With this, we come to the end of today's episode of Gospel Manager. Don't forget that you could actually watch the recap whilst we're offline and keep getting in and soaking in all the counsels and wisdom God's servant has poured on this episode and on subsequent episodes and even the previous ones. Go back to them, reflect on them, and try to see how you could enforce them in your daily living, because you will get profits and positive outcomes through them. So I'm going to leave the stage now for God's servant to give his concluding remarks and bless us for our restful outcome week.
Choose right, choose right, hear right, get motivations that are profiting, and seek leadership. Then approach corrections with a sense of learning. That is our end mind cloud for today.
Approach corrections with a sense of learning. Gospel Manager will be back on Friday at 7 a.m. to tell your families and your friends who have issues that they are going through, irrespective of what it is. Let them know that there is a man of God that they could actually rely on for positive counsel and wisdom on how to navigate that. These are one of the reasons why we say life is beautiful. And you, my friend, can handle it. We'll see you in the next episode coming Friday. God bless you and enjoy the rest of the week.